was a freshman who's going to play? Were there any freshmen that separated themselves in the fall?
What we've seen of the freshmen is that we've got some really explosive, athletic newcomers that are going to provide a spark. Jaron Purify and Devin Parks, stand out of the position players of the freshmen, and those guys are going to be stars and household names, and those are guys that I would guess would might even find their way into the lineup when it's all said and done pretty consistently. There is a laundry list of pitchers that have made incredible impressions from the fall, from Aiden Canuck and Justin Legurnick, Drew Titsworth, all of them, really. I mean, my gosh, it's one of the more impressive freshman groups of pitchers that I've seen. Feel really good about the future of these guys. Finding them innings is going to be very important. There's just a lot of experience out there now. They have some stuff too now. They just don't have the experience, but we're going to try to get them experience, and there's going to be some names that are in that mix. Some guys that were extremely impressive of that freshman group that it's going to be hard to keep them out, off the field, whether it's Devin and Jaron or Aiden Canuck and Justin Legurnick and Drew Titsworth. We're going to have to find ways to get them out there, for sure.
Offensively, losing a good amount of production. Outside of Cam and Will and Blake, who are some of the guys that are going to be turning heads, at least so far through spring practice, that you're going to be relying on offensively?
Well, it's a combination of guys who've been in the program, who got their feet wet last year, like Jack Crichton and Nate Hall, guys who've been patient in our program. Jacob Jarrell, Jack Crichton, Nate Hall, Jacob Jarrell, all had their moments last year and got good amounts of playing time. Guys who didn't get playing time but have been patient in the program, like Cooper Blauser and Nolan Araki. Those guys went out and were all-stars in their summer leagues and have been very impressive. And then it's all the new guys, the grad transfers, Jimmy Overtop, Jacob Hinderleiter, Andrew Chufo. Those guys have to play as well. Alden Mathis is going to play. He's got to be out there. He can play first or the outfield. So it's another good problem to have, because there's probably 13 or 14 hitters that need to get consistent playing time, and we can only write 9 in the lineup. So that's going to be a challenge for the coaches to not only to make sure that we are giving guys opportunities, but making sure that everybody stays positive and loves the team more than they love their individual role. But that's going to be a tough one. That's a real threat for us. Is we've got a very good team, but how are we going to get everybody out there?
As far as NIL, how close are you to being where you want to be or need to be from a fundraiser standpoint?
How much time do we have? I'm glad you asked the question, though, because it's it's a system that it feels like the goalposts keep moving, everything keeps changing, and it's just for an equivalency sport. I don't know how many times I can talk about this, not enough. But if you're an equivalency sport, if you're baseball, softball, soccer, anyone who's not full scholarship, the NIL dollars are not the same for equivalency sport athletes as they are for head count athletes. And I think everybody just needs to understand that NIL for equivalency sport athletes, those dollars are going to paying the cost of attendance, because those athletes are on 25%, 30%, 40%, 50%. They're on a partial scholarship. So they need NIL dollars to pay their bills. It's not pay for play, it's pay their bills. And the problem with that is NIL is considered income, and so they're taxed on those dollars. Whereas if you get a scholarship is not income. You're not taxed on your scholarship. So it's a huge disadvantage for equivalency sport athletes, and until either the scholarship limits are increased or removed, or the IRS says that you're tax exempt up to the cost of attendance for NIL, then we're going to continue to be at equivalency sport athletes are going to continue to be at that disadvantage. And I would encourage them, as much as you hear them clapping out there today, we need that type of energy among equivalency sport athletes to, make some noise about that, right? I mean, why wouldn't they? And so for us specifically as a program, to answer your question, we're looking to, the goal for us is to be a head count sport, to use NIL to provide the opportunity for 40 players to say that they can come to Clemson and not have bills to pay for cost of attendance. So we have 11.7 scholarships, as everybody knows, which means 11.7 guys are on scholarship and 28.3 guys are not. So for us, when we're going out and we're looking to fundraise and we're looking to, what can we do in the NIL space, that's the starting point. Is we want to be able to have everybody that comes and plays here at least have their bills covered for what they owe for cost of attendance. And then if somebody goes out and does it and they want to monetize their name, image, and likeness, and a business wants to employ them to market or advertise or help them sell whatever, and they have an opportunity to monetize their name, image, and likeness, well, that was the original design of name, image, and likeness. And so I think that's great.
Is that goal currently within reach for you guys?
We got a long ways to go. A long ways to go. So we Clemson have our challenges, as does everyone. But yeah, we got a long ways to go to get to that level. But we'll need the help of the Clemson faithful, and we already have had a lot of people showing interest and wanting to step up, and I think it's more this unification of these efforts. The 110 Society was launched. We've got some very bright people in our administration working on it, and so everybody knows what the problems are. And the great thing I really appreciate here is the solution-oriented mindset of, how can we make this a great thing for our student athletes at Clemson? The student athletes are going to have to be active participants in it. There's no question about that. Time for one or two more. Anybody has any?
You had a really successful, obviously, year one here at Clemson. How do you build off that success in year two, and how are you guys going to specifically be defining success here?
Well, look, we don't measure our success by somebody else's opinion of a ranking. We want to be the number one ranked team at getting better. Let's be the best at getting better. And if we can do that, then we'll be able to build off of last year's success. Ultimately, we had some bright spots. We have an ACC championship that we'll always be able to celebrate, but ultimately we finished not in Omaha. And we want to take the next step for this program and to bring a national championship to Clemson University for the Clemson baseball program. And so everything that we do is about improvement, so that when that time does come, many months from now, when it's time to compete in the postseason, we have earned the opportunity to get hot. Because it's not the best team who wins, it's the team that plays the best. And in order to play the best, you got to earn that opportunity to get hot when it means the most. And so we'll take each day as an opportunity to get better, and let's be the best team in the country at getting better. All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.